In a recent interview on Russian state television, Russian President Vladimir Putin addressed a potential escalation in the Ukraine conflict, hinting that Russia would respond decisively if Western nations supply Ukraine with long-range missiles capable of striking within Russian borders. Putin indicated that Russia's defense ministry is actively planning a series of countermeasures in response to this possible Western intervention, but he refrained from specifying what actions might be taken. Instead, he underscored that any such support from the West would be viewed as a major escalation. As the Ukraine conflict nears its third year, the situation is increasingly fraught with tension. The potential involvement of NATO countries in providing Ukraine with long-range missile capabilities would, Putin warned, effectively bring NATO into direct engagement with Russia. This level of involvement, according to Putin, would not only enable Ukraine to strike deeper into Russian territory, but would also require the active participation of NATO's infrastructure and military resources, which Russia could interpret as a direct act of aggression. For weeks, Russian officials have cautioned Western allies, stating that the situation has entered a dangerous phase. These warnings follow a series of comments from Putin, where he emphasized that NATO's increased support for Ukraine, particularly in such a high-stakes manner, would be seen as crossing a red line. By emphasizing the potentially catastrophic consequences of NATO involvement, Putin is positioning this move as a decisive factor that could reshape the trajectory of the conflict, making it far more perilous than previous stages. Putin's message is clear. While Russia is engaged in a complex and costly conflict in Ukraine, it has not ruled out escalation if necessary to defend its perceived national security interests. As Moscow's military strategists work to outline potential responses, the world watches closely to see how the West will respond to these latest warnings. The international community now faces the risk that any major shift in Western support to Ukraine could widen the conflict into a more global confrontation, with NATO and Russian forces potentially coming into more direct confrontation. In this high-stakes environment, Russia's concerns underscore its apprehension about what it views as NATO's indirect involvement in the Ukraine conflict. Should the West decide to arm Ukraine with long-range missiles, Putin's remarks suggest that Russia would feel compelled to respond in kind. This warning adds another layer of complexity to the geopolitical tensions surrounding Ukraine, raising questions about where and how both sides might draw their final lines in an already volatile conflict. Stay subscribed for more videos.